Another great year in the books for the 7th Annual Keepers League. Not a whole lot of surprises this year. The preseason favorite Shake and Bake came away with his first title after a stellar draft. In this season wrap-up video, we'll take an in-depth look at the year that was Shake and Bake. Finishing in 10th place is Missing Links. Even though he started the season with keepers Peyton Manning and Brandon Jacobs, Links finished the year at 4-10. One has to think his running back draft strategy doomed his season. After picking up Brian Westbrook to solidify his starting running backs with the 4th overall pick, he selected Thomas Jones, Larry Johnson, Derek Ward and Jamal Lewis, dooming his depth at pretty much every other position.
Next up, finishing in 9th place was Plaxico's Gun Permit. After finishing 10th in his rookie season, Plaxico finished 4-10. Keeper Larry Fitzgerald finished the regular season with over 1,000 yards and 12 touchdowns. LaDainian Tomlinson on the other hand started off slow but finished strong with 12 total touchdowns. Key move this year was trading for quarterback Ben Roethlisberger. With little communication all year, it's unsure if he'll return for his 3rd season.
Finishing in 8th place at 7-7 is Indy Seabass. A favorite to start the year with keepers Matt Forte and Michael Turner, a title looked imminent. After drafting Steve Smith, Brandon Marshall and Braylon Edwards, Seabass looked tough to beat. Rookie Percy Harvin made his way into his starting lineup after Week 1. Key move came in Week 4 as Seabass picked up Wes Welker for Steve Smith. But it wasn't enough to fight the underperforming Forte and the late-season injuries of Michael Turner. Expect a bounce-back season next year for Indy Seabass.
After finishing 3rd last season, Team Awesome landed the 7th place spot at 7-7 in his 2nd year in the league. Keepers Tom Brady and running back DeAngelo Williams led his team in scoring. His running back 2 spot changed often as he searched for consistency from guys like Reggie Bush, Michael Bush, and finally Tim Hightower. After starting an injured running back DeAngelo Williams in Week 13, that loss may have kept him from a playoff run. Key move was picking up Chad Ochocinco and Roy Williams for Roddy White. Some analysts believe bailing on Roddy White in Week 5 may have doomed his season.
Last year's runner-up finished 6th this year at 5-9. The Enzonians started the year 2-6 and almost threw in the towel a couple times along the way. Keeping wide receiver Anquan Bolden and running back Steve Slayton hurt him throughout the year. Steve Slayton totaled only 437 yards and 3 touchdowns in a miserable sophomore season. With the disappearance of Greg Jennings and Dwayne Bowe, it wasn't looking good for the Enzonians. Managing to fight his way back into the consolation bracket, Enzonians finished strong just shy of the 1st pick in the 2010 draft behind the emergence of Jonathan Stewart and Richard Mendenhall.
Finishing 5th and winner of the consolation bracket for the 1st pick in the 2010 fantasy football draft is Dougie Fresh at 6-8. The 2008 champion was led by Chris Johnson, who carried Doug in 2009 with several monster weeks including 48 points in Week 2 and 41 in Week 8. With Randy Moss leading his receivers, wideouts 2 and 3 hurt his production all season. Antonio Bryant and Terrell Owens doomed the start of 2009. Doug almost traded his way into the playoffs, adding a couple Steve Smiths to his roster to finish the year. His 2 highest scorers were Brett Favre and Chris Johnson. It'll be interesting to see who he'll keep going into 2010.
Finishing in 4th place in a solid year at 9-4-1 is Funk Fitzgerald. Funk rode the coattails of keepers Drew Brees and Maurice Jones-Drew. Dallas Clark also played a significant role all season for Team Funk with 1,054 yards and 10 touchdowns. Best move all year came in Week 10 as Funk picked up free agent wide receiver Robert Meacham, who came out of nowhere to help Funk finish the regular season at 4-1. Funk led all teams in moves with 49. After losing star running back Ronnie Brown to the injured reserve, it was the divisional rival Miles Per Hour that closed the door on Funk's season in the end.
Finishing in 3rd place, the 2-time champion in 2007 and 2003, at 8-6 is Operation Smell It. It was an up-and-down season for Smollett behind keepers Andre Johnson and Steven Jackson. After drafting Calvin Johnson with the first overall pick in 2009, Smollett was a clear favorite yet again. But the round 4 and 5 selections of Roy Williams and Darren McFadden may have kept him away from the championship. However, Cedric Benson filled the void left by McFadden and resurrected his season with 1,251 yards and 6 touchdowns. Always known for making something out of nothing when it comes to trading, Smollett picked up Roddy White, Vernon Davis and Pierre Thomas throughout the year. Smollett finished strong, and it was a last-minute Reggie Wayne touchdown catch that kept him out of the championship.
In second place for the record-setting 5th time is the AFC champion Miles Per Hour at 9-4-1. Miles Per Hour started the year with keepers Aaron Rodgers and Marcus Colston. Rodgers dominated all season and is a big reason for the success of Miles Per Hour. Strong divisional play kept Miles Per Hour in playoff contention with big wins against divisional rival Funk Fitzgerald. Drafted in the 7th round, Vincent Jackson emerged as a big game threat for Miles Per Hour down the stretch. Tight end Jason Witten underperformed to start the year, but free agent tight end Fred Davis won Miles Per Hour the AFC Championship. It was indecision and poor roster management that Miles Per Hour believes lost him this season. With 5 second-place finishes and 1 championship 7 years ago, one has to wonder, can he win the big game?
The 2009 winner of the 7th Annual Keepers League is Shake and Bake at an astounding 10-4. The NFC champion dominated his competition and started the year at 5-0 before losing 2 straight. Shake and Bake scored less than 100 points only 6 times throughout the season behind his stable of running backs Adrian Peterson, Frank Gore, and Ray Rice. Shake had 5 players over 200 points. His top scorer Adrian Peterson scored 259 points on 17 touchdowns and 1,329 yards. Peterson's Monday night performance of 94 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns equaling 23 points secured him the 100-91 victory over Miles Per Hour. Let's take a look at his championship roster.
At quarterback, Donovan McNabb. At wide receivers, Reggie Wayne, DeSean Jackson, and Chris Chambers. At running back, Adrian Peterson, and Frank Gore. At tight end, Antonio Gates. At kicker, Ryan Lendell. I'm not sure what he was thinking here. And finally, Minnesota defense. That will do it for 2009, I hope you had a great year. Let me know if you guys plan on coming back. 3 keepers next year as we ease into a dynasty league. 4 keepers after that. Until next time, this has been your commissioner reporting for the 7th Annual Keepers League.